Welcome to the State Opera and Ballet Theatre of Alisher Navoi, a crown jewel of Uzbekistan's rich cultural heritage. Today we'll uncover its history, artistry, and performances that make this place a unique cultural treasure. Nestled in the heart of Tashkent, the Alisher Navoi State Academic Grand Theatre, more commonly known as the Bolshoi Theatre, has stood as a beacon of culture and creativity for decades. Its walls echo with stories of the past, tales of triumph, struggle, and the timeless magic of performance. The theatre building holds significant value in terms of its history and architectural style. This is the Alisher Navoi Theatre, which opened in 1947. Before the theatre was constructed, the main market of the new city, the Voskresensky Bazaar, stood on this site. In 1933, the Soviet government announced a competition for the best design of an opera theatre in Tashkent. Ultimately, the design by the renowned architect Alexei Shusev was chosen. With over 40 years of experience, the head of the theatre museum meticulously narrates the history of the building, its famous halls, the various architectural styles, and its enduring legacy as we step into the main hall. We are approaching a very important space. Shusev designed the small central foyer specifically for welcoming spectators. He understood that when a visitor steps through the hand-covered doors, they must prepare their soul and mind. They must tune in, for otherwise the theatre's wonders will pass them by. Here, spectators are greeted by four muses, the patronesses of art represented as young national girls. A dancer, a poetess, a musician, and an artist. According to Shusev's plan, they seem to welcome and bless the guests. More than 500 highly skilled workers contributed to the construction of this theatre. These were experts in various crafts: finishers, masons, carpenters, all working by hand to create this entire building. Ustas who were brought in for the finishing work worked seamlessly with the Russian finishers to combine their skills. The story of how they came to Tashkent is fascinating. One day, a group of elderly, stern men came to the office and said, "We are from St. Petersburg. We came here with our fathers and grandfathers to build a house for the exiled prince. They had come to build the Romanov's palace, demonstrating their exceptional mastery of finishing." This remarkable craftsmanship brought together Uzbek and Russian artisans in a unique collaboration. When one walks around the theatre, they unintentionally embark on a journey across all of Uzbekistan, exploring the distinctiveness of each region. Indeed, according to the architect's plan, each of the 6 backstage halls was designed to reflect the architectural features of a specific historic region of Uzbekistan. Throughout our visit, we'll explore the Tashkent, Bukhara, Khiva, Samarkand, Termez, and Fergana halls. Each hall has been masterfully crafted by skilled Uzbek artisans. Our first treasure is the Tashkent Hall, where the work of the extraordinary master Ustotash Pulat Arslankulov shines. Ustotash Pulat's task was to find a defining feature to decorate this hall a challenge because this region was more Europeanized and Russified than the others.
Где вот эта изюминка?
The solution he found was to base his designs on traditional Uzbek home decor,
Традиционные мотивы украшения узбекского жилища.
specifically the motif of wall niches,
Вот видите, вот эти прямоугольные панно.
Да. Seen in the rectangular panels,
Традиционные настенные вышитые ковры Сюзанне.
and the embroidered wall carpets, such as Suzanis or Palaks.
Расположен традиционный букет.
Each niche featured a traditional bouquet in a vase. The pattern developed by Tashkent is called Majnuntal,
Тал, плакучая ива.
and the whipping willow is a favorite motif of Tashkent artisans.
Пулат применяет
Tashkent employed a variety of carving techniques in his work.
резьбы. Вот хочу обратить ваше внимание
Notice the octagonal star at the center of the Gench Palak,
вот этого ганчевого палака. Квадрат в
a
квадрат.
square within a square.
Это древнейший орнаментальный
This is an ancient ornamental symbol
веков. Он имеет также очень доброе значение.
that has come to us from deep in history, symbolizing blessing and good wishes.
Тех лет на совершенно
These craftsmen who worked here achieved a moral and laborious feat.
второго такого объекта. Это
The grandeur of their work cannot be overstated.
человеческий, моральный. Это подвиг.
The main staircases, as they are referred to in the project, are decorated with marble carvings. In addition to the ganj carvings, the theater is embellished with marble decorations, both inside and outside. Yet, despite their beauty, people often pass by them without noticing. The authors of this magnificent work are the talented Bukharakars, the Jurayev brothers, Bolta and Jalol Jurayev. These skilled artisans were responsible for these intricate designs. And the inscription is in Arabic, right? Yes, they sourced the marble from Gazgan.
Так, театр
It is important to note that the theater was built during the Second World War. Construction began at the end of 1939. At that time, the entire spectator section did not yet exist. The plan was to build a 6-story structure. However, with the outbreak of war in 1941, construction came to a halt. Everything was abandoned, left frozen in time. Then, in 1943, by decision of the Uzbek government, work resumed. From 1943 to 1947, a remarkably short period for completing such a grand structure and decorating it in its entirety, the theater was finally brought to life. And what hall are we in now? We are in a true Oriental palace. Doesn't it look like one? This is our Navoi hall. Naturally, when architect Shusif was designing the theater, he could not overlook the legacy of the great Uzbek poet, philosopher, thinker, and educator Alisher Navoi. That's why the spacious, luminous hall was specifically dedicated to him.
было предназначено именно для зала Навои. Но тут тоже
But there was a challenge. Shusif didn't just want to decorate this hall, he wanted to imbue it with the spirit of Navoi. But where could he find an artist as passionate, bold, and visionary as himself?
горячего, неистового, мужественного.
He found such an artist in Chingiz Akhmarov. At that time, Akhmarov was studying in Moscow.
Ученик Грабаря
Shusif personally summoned him to Tashkent with a special letter. And imagine, Akhmarov left Moscow and his studies to come here for this project. Who would make such a decision today?
подвязался сейчас.
But Shusif didn't just need artwork. He needed painting in the style of an old Arabic penyet.
Или старинной арабской миниатюры. А темой
The chosen theme, Navoi's poetry. Displayed here are 4 of his 5 great poems: Wall of Thunder, Layli and Majnun, Farhat and Shireen, and 7 Planets.
и кроме того,
Akhmarov, in his quest for authenticity, was relentless. He meticulously reworked every figure, every actor, every worker, seeking realism.
вот если посмотреть на изображенную
If you look closely at the crowd depicted in the paintings, it is not just a generic assembly of people. Each face is unique, each individual distinct. This is not just a mass of Eastern figures. Every person is different, detailed, and alive.
наш скульптурный портрет Алишера Навои.
I have deep admiration for our sculptural portrait of Alisher Navoi. It is strikingly beautiful. The sculpture, the work of Ivanov, carries an extraordinary expression. The sculpture has given Navoi a presence that is both introspective and radiant. He's immersed in thought in his work, yet his essence shines through. And within this whole, there is a secret, one that often goes unnoticed. A detail that few ever stop to see. If you look at the pedestal, you'll find inscriptions on either side. A couplet from Navoi written in the old Uzbek language. He is called a man who thinks of the people. The heart, that is the message. Where is your heart? Can you truly think of others? If you can, then you are a man. And here, the inscription goes even further. Let your greatest purpose be to ease the burdens of the people. In doing so, you will express your true devotion to them. Out of the vast collection of Navoi's words, why were these lines chosen? That runs through this entire creation, the very soul of this place. Where is your soul? Where is your heart? If the people who built this theater had not poured their hearts into their work, this masterpiece would not exist. Undoubtedly, the words of Alisher Navoi resonate with the present day through the idea of the theater. This place hosts countless spectacles and performances. As the director of the theater, Ramiz Usmanov enthusiastically shares with us, an artist with many years of experience on both national and international stages, he brings a wealth of knowledge and passion to his role.
Teatr bilasizmi? Teatr qaysi teatr bo'lishidan qat'iy nazar bu muxlislarga, xalqqa xizmat qiladi.
No matter the theater, its true purpose is to serve the fans and the people. A theater is a place of inspiration and artistic expression. It's not a concert hall with a sound amplification and so on. It has its own unique form and dress code, especially when it comes to performances that require a distinct stage presence. A great deal of importance is placed on the development of younger audience members who enter the halls. Here in Uzbekistan, the Alisher Navoi Opera and Ballet Theatre is one of the country's most prominent institutions. The reason for its reputation lies in the exceptional performances we stage, all delivered at the highest professional level, something our loyal audience truly appreciates. The theatre has dedicated fans who have been coming for years, people who love our work and the performances we bring to life. Our singers, in turn, give their hearts to the audience, pouring their passion and creativity into every performance.
As we continue exploring the halls, we visit the Bukhara and Khiva halls. The passion for their craft brought together many masters from across Uzbekistan, including Usto Shirin Muradov from Bukhara, renowned for his work on the Emir's palace, where he incorporated intricate details into his designs. Art critic and professor Lazar Rampol, who was well acquainted with Muradov, noted that his artistic techniques were unique and unlike anything seen in European traditions. One of Muradov's most celebrated works is the Bukhara Hall in the State Academic Bolshoi Theater. The finest, almost lacy Bukhara patterns and these mirror panels are Usto Shirin's unique work, unmatched by anyone else. This carving technique is extremely complex. The masters call it pakhbardos, and it is so intricate that even skilled artisans rarely use it. Sometimes people ask me, what kind of glue was used to hold this together? I just laugh and say, definitely not PVA. Of course, the masters knew the secrets of various adhesives, special solutions made from natural ingredients. Usto Shirin did this work when he was still a young man, and in 1911 he and his father worked for the Emir of Bukhara. They created the Emir's White Throne Hall.
Белый тронный зал.
Ustoshirin designed the entire space with mirrors and
Весь зал такой же. Зеркальный.
exquisite decorations. People often ask, why did Ustoshirin choose mirrors?
Ну, зеркало это же хрупкая вещь.
Well, mirrors are fragile, they can crack easily, but no material reflects the light better than a mirror.
Отражает свет. И когда
When sunlight hits the walls and everything Ustoshirin placed here, it seems to come to life. That's the magic of this hall. If all the carvings were illuminated properly,
вот все было освещено вот так вот,
every stalactite and decorative element would appear almost transparent, turning the space into a floating, dreamlike palace.
зал превратился бы, ну, в самый настоящий волшебный дворец, который вот просто парит в воздухе.
Ustoshirin and Ustortashpulat were two extraordinary artisans who designed their halls themselves. Other halls were created based on architectural plans, but these two masters developed their own unique visions.
Архитекторов. Это хивинский зал. У хивинцев ганчевые панно.
Now this is the Khiva hall. Unlike the elaborate Bukhara and Tashkent styles, Khivan Ganj panels are more modest. But here you can see the iconic Khiva pattern, a composition of intricate spirals and interwoven circles.
Вот эта панель.
Every detail is meticulously crafted, yet nothing is identical. Each carved marble tile is unique.
Разные. Автор
The master behind many of these patterns is Fergana, a renowned Khiva ornamental artist, also known as a Nakosh.
Такого человека еще называют накош.
Another key figure, Abdullah Baltayev, designed the delicate, intricate Khiva motifs
С этой стороны один,
that adorn this hall.
бой. Вот Абдулла Балтаев, он там.
Masterpieces of craftsmanship that truly reflect the grandeur of Uzbekistan's artistic heritage.
Хивинских узоров.
Even the chandeliers were hand-carved, and they remain incredibly fragile. We also spoke with an esteemed Uzbek theater director who has more than 40 years of experience and has staged over 45 theatrical performances. He shared with us the rich history of the theater, its diverse performances.
Первая узбекская опера «Буран» Мухтара Шафи, как многие другие, и когда все это закономерно.
The first Uzbek opera Buran was staged in Mukhtar Ashafi's time, along with many others. Naturally, when these efforts culminated, a bipolar theater emerged, a fusion of two artistic traditions. A significant milestone in this development was the construction of our magnificent Navoi theater, which at that time was not yet called the Bolshoi. Initially, it was simply named the Uzbek Opera and Ballet Theater, later renamed Navoi, and eventually earned the prestigious Bolshoi title, of which we're immensely proud. Remarkably, its construction took place during the most challenging and unpredictable period, the harrowing years of World War II. Even when the future seemed uncertain, the construction continued, driven by the great hope that culture would flourish. By 1947, the building was completed, and in October of that year, the theater was inaugurated with the premiere of Ashafi's opera Snowstorm and the Giuseppe Verdi's Aida. At the helm of this grand opening was none other than the unforgettable Mukhtar Ashafi, a man who made extraordinary contribution to both the theater and the musical heritage of Tashkent. Our domestic opera tradition developed from two distinct roots, two rivers merging into one. The first was the traditional Uzbek musical drama, which has existed since the 1920s and gave rise to the Uzbek opera theater in the mid-1930s. The second was the pan-European tradition, which had taken root in Uzbekistan through the renowned private opera company Amirago. Amirago is the surname of founder, a prominent entrepreneur who supported opera and attracted outstanding vocalists. Tashkent hosted world-class singers such as Fedor Shalyapin, Leonid Sobinov, and Antonina Nezhdanova during their tours. Uzbekistan has always been a melting pot of cultures, blending national traditions with global artistic influences.
Соединение культур, единение национального с общеевропейским.
The cultural synthesis continued in 1930s when Uzbek opera flourished with celebrated figures like Muhiddin Korikubov, Paziya and Halima Nasirova.
Мухиддин Корикубов, позднее Халима Насырова.
The Uzbek dramatic theatre similarly combined national and international elements,
Опирался и на национальные достижения, и на мировую. И когда вот такие
featuring legendary actors like Abror Hidayatov and Sara Shampuraeva,
не только свои
who not only performed in Uzbek productions but also in the Shakespearean dramas.
спектакли в сочетании вот этих вот национальных особенностей
Their Hamlet, King Lear and other performances astonished English visitors in 1930s,
Англичане удивлялись, как на узбекском.
demonstrating how Uzbek theatre embraced world classics while retaining its unique character.
Это же самое происходило в оперном театре. Я должен сказать, что
The opera house followed a similar trajectory. The 1930s were a dynamic, transformative period, with both Uzbek and Russian opera companies thriving.
работала в те времена в зале Колизей.
Russian opera productions were staged at the Coliseum Hall, later renamed Sverdlov Theatre, which became a hub for new and ambitious productions.
Интересные артисты. Тогда была контрактная система, и, в общем-то, труппа обновлялась.
During this time, a contract system was in place, and the troupe was refreshed every 1-2 years, bringing in a constant flow of talent.
Иосиф Михайлович Лапицкий, который в 1900
Among the luminaries who worked here was the great director Iosif Lapitsky,
оперный театр музыкальной драмы, где режиссура стала во главе.
who in 1912 had revolutionized opera staging in St. Petersburg by founding an innovative musical drama theatre, where stage direction took center stage in opera storytelling.
Он пережил разные времена.
I believe our theatre has lived a rich and fascinating life. It has seen highs and lows, as all great theatres do, but it has never lowered its artistic standards.
Потому что и уровень подготовки певцов, и уровень, в общем-то, сам театр.
The caliber of our singers, the quality of productions, and the prestige of our stage have always remained at remarkable level.
И сейчас, когда
Even today, despite difficult circumstances,
в условиях выпускаем спектакль,
we strive to present production in a compelling, contemporary manner. What does this mean?
что это значит? Я, как режиссер,
As a director who has devoted half a century to this art form, I firmly believe that we cannot stage opera the way it was done 30-40 years ago. However, we must also resist the modern trend of stripping operas from their original dramaturgical essence,
вырывая из авторского контекста, сочиняя
like transposing them into mental hospitals, garbage dumps, or obscure locations, as is often done in some foreign productions.
северные станции.
This is blatant violation of opera storytelling. Opera is one of the highest forms of theatre, a perfect synthesis of singing, music, acting, choir, and movement. When executed with precision and artistry, opera has the greatest emotional impact on an audience. I believe opera is comparable to nuclear energy, a powerful force when handled by true professionals.
Энергии, когда это профессионально.
Beyond the performances and architectural marvels, the theater holds another treasure within its walls, a museum that tells the untold stories of its creation and cultural influence. A fascinating part of this history is the involvement of Japanese prisoners of war who contributed significantly to the theater's construction.
Вот эта доска
Вот доска.
оригинальная.
Это родная.
This board is an original piece, truly native and untouched. It is written normally here. The last one is written in Russian. In 1945-46, hundreds of Japanese citizens deported from the Far East contributed to the construction of the Alisher Navoi theater building.
То, что
Japanese honor their ancestors who worked here.
которые здесь работали, японские военнопленные.
Japanese prisoners of war were used for auxiliary and finishing work.
Так, вот
Скажите,
такой-
сколько лет?
О, это
этим костюмом?
ху-ху-ху. Вот этот вот камзол
This camisole belonged to the famous singer from the Russian opera, Andrey Boyko.
еще с русской оперы Андрей Бойко.
So this costume is from around the 40s. This is Saadat Kabulova as Layli. This is Bernara Kalieva as Tutu.
Пачка, которую ей подарили и сшили
The
специально.
tutu was given to her and sewn especially for her in Novosibirsk during the theater's tour in 1971, and they gave her as an example to a prima ballerina of that time, this tutu from Swan Lake.
Бурановская афиша, первая узбекская опера «Буран». Афиша
You can see a poster for Buran, the first Uzbek opera dating back to 1940. There's also a 1938 poster for the first Uzbek ballet, Shahid.
потопная афиша, это все собрано было реставратором.
Many of these items were collected by a dedicated restorer who feared that they would deteriorate over time.
Афиша, говорящая
A poster that says the history of the theater really well, I don't know why, but it has moved through the decades.
почему так, но она двигалась по десятилетиям.
This is antiquity. This is the original costume of Galia Ismailova.
Чудом сохранившийся костюм Халимы Насыровой.
This is the miraculously saved costume of Halima Nasirova from Gulsara.
Это натуральный материал.
It was saved due to the natural material, which is gold Han Atlas.
Ну а здесь сколько смогли.
Here we have saved as much as we could. Though there are more objects, I've shown the minimum but have tried to showcase more.
Но зато вот постаралась выложить все подлинники. Театр имел очень много.
The theater has accumulated numerous prestigious awards over the years due to its high standard of performances.
На высоком уровне. Театр занимал высокое положение среди многих оперных театров СССР.
Among the 683 opera theaters in the USSR,
3 больших театра.
only 3 were considered major, grand: Moscow, Minsk, and ours.
Московский, Минский и наш.
While the museum connects us to the past, the theater's current repertoire is a vibrant reminder of its ongoing role in cultural life. Director Ramiz Usmanov shares more about the performances that bring these halls to life today.
Men endi o'zim jo'shib gapirishim mumkin bu haqida, to'lib gapirishim mumkin. Aynan shu narsa to'g'ri.
I share this with great joy and enthusiasm. December 27th, 2021 was a historic day for us, for the entire theatre, for the Grand Academic Theatre named after Alisher Navoi. On this day, following the 64th decree issued by our president to support the development of opera and ballet, a new chapter in our journey began. We recently returned from a tour that took us to several countries, including Italy. In Azerbaijan, we performed in the Grand Opera Theatres of Baku with a team of 174 opera and ballet artists. We staged large-scale productions, held major concerts, and showcased Uzbek ballets. During our international tour, we performed in South Korea, giving concerts in 5 cities, starting with Seoul. A team of 130 of our artists took part in these performances across multiple venues. Additionally, we staged a major concert in China, performing at the renowned China Opera House. Our Chinese audiences were genuinely surprised by the level of artistry we presented. In September 2024, we traveled to Turkey. At the end of September and into October, we performed in the Grand Hall of the Mustafa Kemal Atatürk Theatre of Istanbul, a venue with a capacity of 2,200 seats. Our Uzbek singers, opera performers, and our young ballet dancers delivered exceptional performances, representing our country with pride. We have everything we need. We can confidently present our art to the world. Our artists, for instance, masterfully perform works by renowned Italian composers in their original language, while Italian performers, for example, typically cannot sing the works of Uzbek composers.
Ashulalarini, operalarni ijro qilish mumkin. Lekin italyanlar bizni o'zbek kompozityorlarimiz ashulani ijro qila olmaydi.
As we continue our journey through the theater, the Termez, Samarkand, and Fergana halls stand as further examples of the exceptional craftsmanship that defines this cultural gem.
Орнаменты XII века.
Ornaments are from the 12th century. This is the oldest hall. Where did they come from? They came here from the excavations of the Termez palace rulers. These cast pieces were brought here by archaeologists who discovered them during excavations. The geometric and plant-based ornaments on display are unique, as they were directly influenced by the original designs from the palace. You see, it is really different. It doesn't look like the Tashkent one or the Bukhara one. It seems simple in appearance. It looks more modest. Because in the Middle Ages, such splendor, like in other halls, was not accepted. This panel, you see, it is also unique. There's no other place like it. It is made exactly like the one in the palace. There's something left from the palace. And these columns, they're also made exactly like the one in the palace of the Termez rulers. Usto Pulat, Usto Shirin and his student Ismatullah Nigmatov worked here. The Samarkand Hall is no less famous than Bukhara one. Its author, a remarkable restorer and master of ancient monuments of Samarkand, Usto Kuli Jalilov. There are also elements that we have not seen in other halls. Here on the ceiling is the only example of geometric ornament gerich. What we see on the walls is a plant ornament made of islimi. And there is also a second type, gerich. These large wall panels you see are decorated with such a convex ornament. It also depends on the method of carving. And the masters call this method relief kirma. When the master, like a pie, applies 3 layers of ganj and crawls through all these layers to the plaster. And now we are in the Fergana Hall. Here we have come to the Fergana Hall. In the Fergana Hall, the smallest of the theater spaces, we see more intricate designs. This hall was traditionally used for government meetings, conferences, and other important events. Notably, the Fergana Hall was built by the craftsman Sayyid Ahmad Narkuziev, who adhered to the 7 principles of traditional Fergana art. This style is marked by minimalistic decoration on the walls, with most of the beauty reserved for the ceiling, which is customary for Fergana art.
The performances staged at our theatre often delve into the inner experiences of individuals, reflecting real life and drawing inspiration from the lives of our ancestors, such as Al-Fergani and other historical figures. Our mission is to present our art to the younger generation and introduce them to the essence of theatre. If we don't show it to them, where will they experience it? While they may read about it in books, we must actively plan for the future to make our theatre a destination that appeals to new audiences. For example, we have already staged the Manguberdi Ballet and are currently working on the opera Babur. Since I took on the role of leader, one of our main focuses has been marketing our theatre effectively. It's essential that young people know what performances are coming to our stage, what concert will be held, and so on. We also plan to stage Mozart's Don Juan, Mukhtar Ashrafi's The Legend of Kashmir, and other major productions in 2025. Additionally, we are revisiting some of our older performances, making adjustments to align. Looking ahead, we have many exciting plans. In 2025, we'll be touring Sochi and the Mariinsky Theatre and St. Petersburg in March. We also have a trip to Warsaw, Poland, scheduled for the later in year, as outlined in our plans. Looking at the quality, we see that the audience are coming in droves, thanks to the effective marketing. We must continue working honestly and with dedication. When we do, the viewers will come, And I've said before, the most important thing is that we have the talent, the material and the rich history, with a 100-year-old theatre as our foundation. Sometimes the theatre is so packed that there isn't a single empty seat, and we even find ourselves rearranging the seating to accommodate everyone. This growing demand is a reflection of incredible support we're receiving from people across Uzbekistan, the theatre industry and especially our youth. A great deal of attention is being given to the younger generation, with excellent conditions created for them, Uzbekistan, and we invite everyone to join us at the theatre as we look forward to our new performances in 2025.
Art, much like the human spirit, is eternal. People have an innate need to connect with beauty, and this theatre, with its rich history and vibrant performances, continues to provide that connection. It's through such living expressions of art that the soul finds its touch with the beautiful and the timeless. The Alisher Navoi State Academic Grand Theatre is more than a building. It is a living testament to Uzbekistan's rich cultural heritage and artistic excellence. From its storied past to its vibrant present, the theatre continues to inspire and enchant all who enter its doors.